Hello, Mooncrafters. Welcome back to the channel. This is Craft of Moon. I am Ryan Hunt, and I'll be walking you through today's episode. I am happy to welcome on Adam Gainsbourg, and we're going to be interviewing him and talking a little bit about his work. So with that, I'm going to switch over there and stay tuned. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Adam Gainsbourg. Adam works at the meeting point of transcendence and embodiment, guiding people into a direct experience of their own inner reality, not as something abstract, but something lived, felt, and integrated. His work brings together the wisdom of spiritual paths with the power of being fully human, allowing both to unfold as one continuous experience. In that space, insight becomes tangible and self-understanding deepens into something you can actually inhabit. Over the years, Adam has supported thousands of people in connecting to that deeper layer of themselves, where presence, purpose, and creativity arise naturally from within. His facilitation is marked by clarity, precision, and a genuine kindness that invites each person into their own knowing. He is also a leading astrologer and the founder of Soul Sign Astrology, where he focuses on the integration of personal dharma and essential being. Through his teachings, sessions, and writings, Adam offers a grounded, embodied approach to transformation that bridges the symbolic and the real. It's a way of working that doesn't ask you to become someone else, but to be more fully alive with what you already are. And with that, I'd like to turn the time over to Adam to help us understand a little bit about his Astro-Somatic Sky Work that he's been doing so far. So Adam, welcome to the channel, and happy to have you here.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be here.
So good to have you. So yeah, I'm really excited about this Astro-Somatic Sky direction you're taking. I took my chart is in my body course that you offered, and it was fantastic and deeply connecting for me. And now you're taking it in even further directions. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so just as a little bit of background, it feels like this coursework kind of took a hold of me. I've been a chart reader, if you will, otherwise practicing astrologer for a long time, and have met the magic and the power of getting out of the way of what our charts say to actually, realize it within our bodies and our hearts and our minds. And with all of those years and all the teachings and the sessions and all of that, I started to feel that there was something a little like there was like a layer missing. And that was this layer of what I call just pure vitality, where so many people have been benefited by astrology for so long that I think we tend to miss that we're still going outside of ourselves, the chart, to get to see the symbolism or see the aspect or the house position or the essential dignity or the transit hit or whatever, and then coming back up in here and then interpreting that and then making a meaning of that.
Mm.
And that's what started to kind of suss out to me over the years and years. And so this work, I call it my your Astro-Somatic Sky Work.
Yeah.
Blending the idea of body and sky together. I feel this is an evolution of the practice of Western astrology itself.
Mm.
Whereas Western astrology is absolutely predicated on the chart. Whatever house system you use, whatever zodiac you're using, it's still the chart. This starts with the living celestial reality of the planets around the Earth at the moment of our birth. which, by the way, Ryan, I've come to also realize that the birth moment of astrology is not actually what incites the astrological chart for in the person. It's actually the first few breaths.
Mm.
So I've started to stop saying birth chart, and I've started to invoke my breath chart, or my
The
first
breath
breath
chart.
chart.
Yeah.
Yes, because that breath
Yeah.
as a newborn infant is actually what signals in the body
Mm.
that it is now a part of its environment, both the immediate environment of the birth house, the birth room, or the birth space, but also the
Mm.
planet, and then thus also the solar system.
Right.
So that first breath moment is, and breathing that in from all directions, because as we all know, many of us, maybe all of us, are born with some planets below the horizon that we can't
Right.
see.
Right.
So there's no visual connection there at that moment of birth. But at the moment of birth or first breath, that breath absorbs all of it. It's like everything is inclusively included in
Mm.
this is an aspect of me. And then taken as a whole, this is now becomes what I call my first breath sky, or my first breath chart.
Yeah, I mean, what as you were saying that, what I was thinking about was just how before you're born, before you come out into the world to take that first breath, we are in a water experience inside the womb, right? And so we leave the water experience, and then we move into the air experience, right? You know, elementally. So we're moving from the water into the air, and it's at that moment that air coming into us that we first experience the connection of our complete womb-like experience with what is external to us, is through air,
Exactly.
through that breath.
Beautiful. Yes, that has been my experience very, very much. And that air, you could also say, well, then it gets into a conversation about elements, but it's also the element of space, because as
Mm.
I've learned doing this, offering this work, both one-on-one sessions and a group space, like a group class, I've learned that there's also the element of space or ether that is immediately indicated at the first breath, because that's the ubiquity of connection with all planets and asteroids and everything you want to plot on the chart. You can find it within your body.
Mm.
And that's actually what this Astro-Somatic Sky Work does. When I'm in a session with someone or in a course, what we do is we find, let's say we start with our sun. We find where our sun is in our sky. We temporarily put down the sign of the sun, the house of the sun, the aspects that the sun is making or being made to, its dignity or its any of that. We
Mm-hmm.
put all that down and we just focus. Let's see, where's the sun? Oh, my sun, when I took my first breath, was, in our astrological language, we could say, let's say, is the second house.
Mm.
Oh, my sun was invisible. It was below the horizon. I didn't see any sun, but I can still connect to it now as an adult with intention,
Mm-hmm.
centered in the heart, and breath. I
Yeah.
can still connect to that sun and welcome it from that trajectory, that angular momentum into my body now, because that is my, if you will, my somatic or endogenous relationship with solar energy.
Yeah.
That's where it lives in me.
You know
And so
what?
this really, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that the only other thing I wanted to mention on this topic is this is a paradigm shift from trying to understand things with our minds, with our intellect, especially we in the West, and shifting that into a direct entrustment of what our body knows.
Yeah. Yeah. What I was going to say is, you know, the thing that was really exciting to me when I took my chart as my body class is, you know, I've done like visualization work of like mapping where the planets are in the sky, even under the ground, and like trying to like visualize where they are, even doing like the stuff of like the planets represent these colors and things like that to like really connect with the planets, or even the dry wetness qualities of the planet, all that kind of stuff. So I've done like that kind of work. But what really I thought was really meaningful as an embodied practice is that what I remember is you walking through the class to connect with that planet as its own internal manifestation within you, as opposed to like saying, oh, where is it in the sky? And that's great. I love those kinds of exercises. They're really helpful. But it was like, it doesn't really matter the externality of it. There's an internal manifestation. And it was through your work with that of connecting to the internal expression of the planet. And I really thought that was so deep and profound because, like at the very origins of astrology, astrology is so rooted in Hermetic philosophy, as above, so below, as within, so without. And like you were talking about with people with the charts, that can become so cerebral and external, but we forget that it's a correspondence. And what I love about the work you're doing is it's kind of going from the other direction, from the body, from the within, from the below, and finding what's in there to experience the external from the internal.
Beautiful, right? Absolutely. And when someone does that, in my experience, the students and the folks who have taken this course or done deep session work, that's the only way that I've yet found to cellularly merge or alchemize the cerebral, the understanding, the archetypal, the psychological with the raw body wisdom, the body instinct, but now married to its own deeper soul wiring. And that marriage is so often missing in so much of Western astrology.
It is. The marriage of it is missing. And I think the marriage of it is missing because of our natural tendency in this world that we live in, for some reason, our natural tendency to be so externalized. And the marriage is missing because there's a lack of focus on the internal. Right. And I don't want to say that like, oh, the world's not focused on the internal, because I definitely think that there's a lot of people in this world that are trying to do inner work. But what I'm saying is that you had what was so profound in the way that you were addressing it was like starting from the within to address the without. It's starting from inside.
Yeah. And that requires a different language. And people who generally are kind of fixated or attached to thinking that they know who they are can have it, and I've seen it, have difficult times starting from the internal, starting from this felt sense before it gets contextualized within an identity of this is me, this is not me. I like this, I don't like this. That's wrong, that's right. Before all that comes, just the raw, allowed, natural, felt sense to come. That's challenging for especially people in the West.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're doing like more something that might be more traditional visualization of the chart, you need the chart to understand where the planets are. But what I loved about what you were doing is you don't even need to know the external chart yet to start the work that you're doing. You can connect to these internal energies directly through your own experience.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I've applied this core technology that you took and got in the course. I've applied this to other areas of my work as well. Deep work into personal sovereignty, deep work into relationships, where those other arms of my offerings or services do not even emphasize or even speak to astrology necessarily.
Yeah.
So this core thing is the core technology of my Astro-Somatic Sky Work can be applied really anywhere. It's great for people who find themselves generally top heavy, always thinking, and that like regularly having to remember to calm down, to de-stress, to turn off my devices, to slow down. If that's if that's a person, then this will, like you say, it starts in here. But that will take some time to be able to trust that, like, well, I can really let go of everything that I normally am managing and monitoring in my nervous system. I can really start here.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that so much. And tell me, I know before we started this conversation, you were mentioning that you've got a workshop coming up towards the end of the month, or a class or a workshop. Tell us about that workshop and how this kind of work that we're talking about dovetails into that.
Thank you. Yeah. Starts at the end of May. There are four classes in that course. It's all online. And what we do is we go through the visible planets,
Mm.
where each student receives a very crafted and refined transmission of each of the planets. So, what is the sun from the perspective of that interface between transcendence and embodiment?
Mm.
What is the moon's purpose within the human body, mind, spirit psyche, within that can foster a greater meeting of the without and the within, the above and the below within oneself? Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and then we also work with the angles. And in
Mm.
each one, we then shift to a specific kind of breathing practice.
Mm.
And the breathing practice is gentle, it's easy, there's no raising of like Shakti or nervous system or any of that. This is to make connection in a safe way for each person, safe in the body, safe in the emotions, safe
Mm.
in the mind, to make connection to that breath moment, the person's own first breath moment,
Right.
just as it is, without changing anything. And
Mm.
so the combination of elements of the breath, the willful permission for this to happen,
Mm.
in other words, the person's not being coerced or forced, and they're
Mhm.
not scared doing it. They have an honest intention,
Mm.
with then the celestial reality that the sun was there, Mars was there, Jupiter was there at the moment of birth, and then combining the outside, the birth sky, with the inside, the
Mm.
felt sense, through the
Mhm.
breath,
Mhm.
constantly making that connection, forging that safety together. It starts to reseed, or like what if you found in your walls in your house like a circuit that was never really, like the wires never really connected.
Mm.
Now they start to connect and things come online for people. Memories come back that they thought that they
Wow.
had lost. Certain faculties, like not just memories in the past, but the capacity to use one's higher cognitive function, become more available and right there, rather than, oh yeah, that's something I used to have and maybe I'm getting old, or whatever it is. Or even impatience wanes because now things are connected, so there's not that underlying fear that's running, kind of thing. Or you know some people are, and I'm definitely in this category as well, we have used our curiosity to basically leave our body.
Right.
And this technique, this technology will connect you back to the moment I start to leave my body. I will feel it. I will know and go, something about this, if I go any further, it doesn't feel quite loving. It doesn't feel quite respectful of myself anymore. And you know what? I'm going to stop here.
Yeah.
Where in the past there would have been no bar to kind of know that. So there's a lot of benefits that are coming for people that I'm observing in the students and clients doing this work. It's really extraordinary. Like, I'm very excited about this.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds super exciting. Um,
Yeah.
as you were talking, one of the things that that was kind of like arising for me is going back to to what we were saying originally, the somatic sky, and we've been
Yes.
talking a lot about the body and the soma, and
Mhm.
why don't we like maybe explore a little bit about what the sky means?
So the sky element, thanks for asking this, Ryan. The sky element is, for me, equally as interesting. So much, well, all of Western astrology is based on the chart. What does that mean? The sign of the body in question, the house of it, the aspects, and anything else one wants to place on the chart. Except there is an entire dimension, there's an entire world of planetary meaning that we get if we don't even look at the chart, that astrology students were never taught. except in the very few, multi-year universities. And that is what I've come to call the living sky or sky astrology. So for example, the root of any interpretation of a planet is a planet's sign and house.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the chart planet. The sky planet would be its brightness and Earth proximity. In other words, how bright relative to between invisible and its brightest that it ever gets
Mm.
from Earth
Yeah.
in our skies, if that's the full min to max, how bright is the planet at the moment in question? Brightness.
Mm-hmm.
Brightness correlates in human beings to an ease or a kind of instinctual both safety and confidence to exhibit or display or act who and what it is without
Mm.
any interruptions or inhibitions or self-doubt. Brightness correlates essentially with an inner sense of outer agency.
So it's like when we're like, if we think about just taking it outside astrology, just like as in working as a human and we're in our lives, and when we are in our flow and we seem to be embodying our life and seems to be who we are is coming out more and more in our life, that quality of flow and our own manifestation into life is kind of like a correlates to the idea of brightness in the planet.
It does, exactly. And you're Ryan, as an astrologer, you're saying it so accurately. And there's a lot more that we can find in terms of meanings or significations of a planet bright. So therefore, if you have a planet bright and I have the same planet dim,
Mm-hmm.
relatively speaking,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that I'm in any kind of deficit. That
Mm-hmm.
is my endogenous manner of having agency relative to that planet. I will not be the brightest one in the room, metaphorically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I will be maybe this. I will be behind that. I will wait to see where the light is and then go to where feels best.
Right.
Or I will generate my own light, and if people want to find me, they can do the work to find my light. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So brightness, brightness is only one of about 7 of these sky factors
Yeah.
that I've been teaching on for at least 15 years. And each one is fascinating. So then it becomes really interesting, Ryan, because let's say you and I both have Jupiter in Cancer in the 7th house on both of our natal charts,
Right.
except yours is super bright, high,
Mm-hmm.
visible almost all night long.
Mm-hmm.
And my Jupiter in Cancer in the 7th
Mm.
is invisible. There's no Jupiter in the sky when I was born. So
Right.
it's not only dim, it's invisible.
Yeah.
Zero brightness, right? So how does that correlate? Well, look at this guy's chart and look at this guy's chart. Like same chart, but totally different sky Jupiter,
Oh yeah.
you know? The other major what I call sky factors, these are the 7 sky factors
Mm.
that is most easily understandable by people, is the Earth proximity factor. This is relative, well, at the moment of birth or first breath, how close or far was the planet?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is of course, you're only comparing the closest that planet ever gets to Earth with the furthest that planet ever gets from Earth. You're not
Mm-hmm.
comparing the proximity of one planet to the proximity of another because it's a totally different scale.
Right.
Right. So the closer Earth proximity is, I find the more assumption the person has, almost subconsciously, that they have agency with this planet, with this aspect of their own body mind. This is the closer it is, the more almost freedom they have to go and express and do themselves and do things and create things and experiment with things, risk things, be conservative about things more than other people, because there's less of a there's less of a presence in the subconscious of fear of failure.
Mm.
Earth proximity means the planet and the Earth, relatively speaking, were quite close when they were born, which means there's a closer, what I call field effect, where it's almost like the lemniscape, the
Right.
vesica of two sentient beings of any kind. Their fields overlap, and that vesica is what comes out when we are performing astrology with Earth proximity.
I like that. What when you were talking about the vesica and the resonance, what it made me think of, and I don't know if you're familiar with his work at all, but have you like ever looked at Rupert Sheldrake's work?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Long time.
And the morphic resonance. What I was thinking, what it made me think about is all his morphic resonance fields.
Completely. That's what it is.
Right.
But astrology, like that's what aspects are. Aspects are the geometrical expression of morphic resonance.
Oh, I love that. That's such a great, concise way of saying it.
And the waxing aspects are building towards maximum resonance, and the waning aspects are integrating, sharing, distributing, and releasing the morphic resonance.
Yeah. I love that. And that ties in just to tie back to this channel, Craft of Moon, right? And people are really about the moon, right? So waxing and waning is planets in general have phases, but tell me about your view of the moon in the work that you're doing, just because I'm deeply in love with the moon personally. She's such a wonderful illuminary. So yeah, how does the moon connect with all this? I mean, the moon seems to have both dark and light and moves between the waxing and the waning. And the moon is so powerful. I mean, I don't know. What would you say about the moon?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, this is a big topic, Ryan, bigger than this conversation.
Sure.
But the moon in our skies, meaning the living human experience of the moon, is closer to outer planets than it is to inner planets. What does that mean? The moon can extend its elongation from the sun by the max, by 180, and actually create an opposition called a full moon every month. Inner planets cannot even get close to that, Mercury and Venus, but all the outer planets can. So just to say that the moon is perhaps the most available astrological body that we use for profound inner insight and transformation, because number one, it is our satellite. It does not revolve around the sun. It is of the earth. Its whole motion is centered on the earth. One, and two, it behaves, as I just said, like an outer planet. It conjoins the sun and then elongates completely to the full moon, and then comes back around. And so both of those, the satellite of the earth, but also can extend the maximum distance from the life giver, the sun in our solar system. That creates those two core, almost archetypal facts create, I think, why people are so enamored, why people get so much support and guidance from the moon throughout their lives because of those two facts. It's a much under there's a quote from, I forgot if it was Dane Rujar or one of his contemporaries in the 1920s, the humanism. And they said that an astrologer who does not know the moon does not know astrology.
Oh, so true.
So true.
Yeah.
I still remember that teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just really briefly, my connection with the moon started in the early 80s with a lunar eclipse that my mother woke me up in the middle of the night to go out and watch as a kid. And it was my first lunar eclipse. And it was from that moment throughout the rest of my life, I've just always had like this love affair with the moon. So I really appreciate you talking about the moon like that and that outer planet aspect and the opposition and the conjunction, because you're right, the personal planets, Mars and Venus and Mercury, they can't make those. I guess Mars can make an opposition, but Venus and Mercury definitely can't. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's wonderful.
Thank you. The phases of the moon, as you're so intimate with and you teach and bring to people, Ryan, there's phases of all the planets, as you know. There's the
Yeah.
phases of Venus with the sun, Mars. I have a book on all the phases of Venus.
Mm,
And that's not the same system. It's not the same map because Venus only gets 48, maybe 49 degrees from the sun ever.
right.
So, but there are 13 phases of Venus that happen from retrograde conjunction
Mm-hmm.
through direct conjunction through the next retrograde conjunction. So that's a
Yeah.
whole other system. But I think I'm bringing that up, and Mars does the same thing. But I'm bringing that up because I think I want to share with your audience that whether a planet's phases go like the moon do or
Mm-hmm.
like Venus does,
Mm-hmm.
phases are the same thing. Phases are an incredibly
Mm,
valuable ally we have
yeah.
because phases determine what I call it's the astrology of the space in between the two
Mm-hmm.
planets.
Mm-hmm.
And that describes potential. That describes a deeper dropping in
Mm-hmm.
to one's own truth. That describes like a liminal space where you can get
Mm,
answers where things that have been really sticking you or being confusing to you and all of that.
mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah. So, Ryan, thank you very much. I rarely get to have these conversations with colleagues who really get
Oh
it,
yeah.
like this is much for me too. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's been really great having you here. And I do want to mention also, because you'd wanted to say it earlier, is you're also going to be at UAC in September, right?
Yes, I am. I'm going to be at UAC, and they've given me the chance to deliver 2 lectures. One, I'm going to be talking all about these sky factors. Brightness and Earth proximity are just 2 of them, of the 8. And I'm also going to be presenting a map that I've been working on for years about correlating the human shadow. This is a post-Jungian use of the term shadow.
Okay.
Human shadow to the outer planets. And I'm very excited to bring that
Wow.
forward at that level at that conference. Yeah.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to being able to see
I hope
that.
it causes some waves.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I will also just plug for you too, because you mentioned it briefly, but I did take you gave a class for NCGR San Francisco on Mars, and I took that, and I can just tell the audience that you have incredible Mars work, and if they can find any way to connect with your Mars, and I'm sure your Venus work is similar, they should definitely connect with you. That, which kind of like threads me into the other website you've got there at the bottom of your image is the Initiated Man website, and I'm sure maybe that has a little bit of Mars influence as well.
It does. That website highlights all of the deep work that I do with men.
Mm-hmm.
This is a male focused paradigm of astrology
Mm,
for the deeper needs of men, not just superficial psycho-emotional stuff and
right.
what most of therapy can get to, but like the deeper
Mm-hmm.
causal factors of why there's disease, why there's dysregulation, patterns of behavior, as well as there's a lot there, but a lot of it has inspired me from Mars, like the planet Mars and the cycle of Mars with the sun for years. This is I'm continuing to be a devotee and as best I can, a servant of like true teachings, not just what we in the West kind of stereotype as Mars, but the full range of Mars's
it's so
like
beautiful.
power and his compassion, his surrender and his kindness, the whole range of Mars.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's much needed, I would say.
Yeah.
It's much needed.
Yeah. Well, it's been
Thank you.
it's been so lovely to have you here, and I just hope that some of the audience is able to connect with you in at least in one of the ways that you're able to connect, either in your workshop or UAC, or through some of the other work you have at Soul Sign or the Initiated Man. So I really encourage everybody that's able to see this video to connect with Adam in some way. And so with that, let's see, anything else on my side? I can't think of anything, but
no, I think you covered it all. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Good. Okay. Thank you, Adam.
Everyone.
And
thank you, Ryan.
We'll see everybody next time. Until next time, keep your eye on the sky and make a wish upon a star.